The sound wasn't loud. That's what still haunts me. A soft, sharp crack skin on skin. So quick my brain refused to name it. My baby's head snapped to the side, a breathless pause. Then the scream, thin, panicked, alive. I stood up before I knew I was standing. My chair scraped the floor like a warning shot. My sister's hand was still in the air, fingers stiff, face calm, too calm. She wouldn't stop crying, she said, like she was explaining a stain. You're overreacting. The table stayed silent. Forks hovered, wine glasses froze midair. My mother looked down. My father cleared his throat and did nothing. Christmas lights blinked behind them, cheerful and obscene. That was the moment something in me locked into place. Not rage. Focus. I reached for my baby, pulled her into my chest. Her sobs soaked into my sweater. My hands shook. My voice didn't. Don't touch my child again. My sister rolled her eyes. God, you've always been dramatic. That's when my husband stood. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't rush. He pushed his chair back with controlled precision, like he was stepping into a briefing room. His uniform wasn't on, but the presence was the kind that quiets rooms without asking. He looked at my sister, not angry, assessing. Get out, he said. One sentence, final, tactical. She laughed once, sharp and ugly. You're kicking me out over that? He didn't blink. You struck a defenseless child. You're done here. Silence collapsed inward. My sister looked around for backup, found none. Not even from the people who had stayed quiet seconds earlier. She scoffed, grabbed her coat, and left with a door slam that rattled the ornaments. She never came back. But this story didn't begin at the table. It began years earlier, when I still thought blood meant loyalty. We grew up sharing everything, closed secrets. Blame. She was louder, faster, always reaching first. He learned to yield. He told myself it was love. He told myself she needed more. When I married my husband, she smiled too wide. I asked too many questions about his rank, his deployments, or house hour savings. I noticed it, filed it away. When I got pregnant, she called me soft. Said motherhood would ruin me. Laughed because it was easier than confronting the jealousy underneath. The first crack appeared after the baby was born. She criticized everything, how I held her, fared, protected her, called me paranoid, hormonal weak. I started seeing patterns, the way she crossed boundaries, and dared me to stop her, the way she watched my husband, not with desire, but with calculation, the way she dismissed my baby as an inconvenience. I didn't explode. I observed. I documented every comment, every visit, every moment. My instincts whispered. Danjari talked to my husband late at night. My baby asleep between us. She listened, always quietly, like a man mapping terrain. The slap was not an accident. It was escalation. After Christmas, my family tried to smooth it over. They said words like misunderstanding and stress. They asked me to be the bigger persona. Declined. Instead, I moved. We sent one message, clear, cold boundaries, outlined like a legal brief: no contact with our child, no visits, no exceptions. My sister rage texts, poured in accusations, tried to turn the family some, believed her some, didn't. It didn't matter. Because we were prepared. When she showed up at our door unannounced, my husband stepped outside and closed it behind him. She didn't raise her voice, neither did he, but she left shaking. When she tried to file a false report claiming I was unstable, we already had documentation, messages, witnesses. A pediatrician's note here: attempt collapsed before it formed. Each move she made tightened the net. She thought she was fighting emotion. She was walking into strategy. The confrontation came months later, at a family gathering she wasn't invited to, but attended anyway. She cornered me in the kitchen, eyes sharp, voice low. You think you won, she said. I looked at her, hand steady, empty, no baby to reach for. I didn't think, I said. He planned. My husband appeared in the doorway, not looming. Present me, sister, saw him and stepped back just one step enough. You don't get access to my family, I told her. You lost that the moment you raised your hand. She laughed. Brittle. You turned everyone against me. No, I said, you revealed yourself. Just stop protecting you. She left early again. That became her pattern. Now, when I think back to that dinner, I don't replay the slap. I remember the silence after. The moment power shifted. I learned something that night. Justice doesn't always roar sometimes. It stands up, speaks once, and lets consequences do the rest. My sister thought I was weak because I was gentle. She was wrong. I was controlled. And that made all the difference.